In the crushing depths of space, something far worse than a black hole might be lurking. While black holes simply devour matter and light, gravastars could tear apart the very fabric of reality itself. These theoretical monsters pack the mass of millions of suns into shells of exotic matter that physics says cannot exist. We are about to journey into the most terrifying corners of theoretical physics. You will witness stars dying in ways that create space-time bombs. Explore interiors where time runs backward, and discover why some scientists believe these cosmic destroyers already hide among us. We will visit the mathematical nightmares that keep physicists awake and face the possibility that our universe might be filled with invisible predators. If you're ready to question everything you thought you knew about the cosmos, make sure to like and subscribe for this journey into cosmic horror. Prepare yourselves. We dive into the abyss. Black holes have an event horizon, but gravastars has something far more sinister. While a black hole creates a boundary where nothing can escape, a gravar builds a shell of exotic matter that exists in a state physics calls impossible. Picture a soap bubble. But instead of thin film, imagine a barrier made of matter with negative pressure. This shell hovers at the exact point where a black hole's event horizon should form, creating a cosmic standoff between gravity and quantum mechanics. The difference is terrifying. A black hole simply crushes everything into a singularity at its center. A gravar traps all that matter and energy in a hollow space where the normal rules of physics break down completely. Think of it like the difference between a hungry mouth that swallows everything versus a prison that holds infinite energy in suspended animation. Scientists believe this exotic matter shell could be thinner than an atom yet stronger than the combined pull of a million suns. The shell exists in a quantum state called the Bose-Einstein condensate where matter behaves more like waves and particles. This creates a barrier that could theoretically hold back the collapse of matter heavier than entire star systems. But here is where gravastars become truly nightmarish. The interior of this cosmic prison might not follow the same flow of time as the rest of the universe. While we experience seconds ticking forward, the space inside a gravar could be experiencing time in reverse or not at all. Every piece of matter that falls toward this shell becomes trapped in a timeless void. The mathematical models show that gravars could be completely stable, unlike black holes, which slowly evaporate through Hawking radiation. This means that once a gravar forms, it could exist unchanged for longer than the age of the universe itself. They become permanent scars on the fabric of spacing. What makes this even more disturbing is that gravastars might look identical to black holes from the outside. We cannot see past that exotic matter shell to know what horrors lie within. Every object we have identified as a black hole in our galaxy could actually be one of these cosmic prisons hiding secrets that would shatter our understanding of reality. The shell itself pulses with quantum fluctuations that could release energy bursts millions of times more powerful than our sun. These quantum tremors ripple through spacetime like earthquakes through solid rock. But instead of shaking ground, they shake the very dimensions we exist in. Next, we dive deeper into the exotic matter that builds these impossible shells. The shell surrounding a gravar is built from matter that violates every rule we know about physics. Imagine trying to build a wall out of negative bricks. Normal matter has positive energy density, which means it curves spacetime inward like a bowling ball on a trampoline. But the exotic matter in a gravar shell has negative energy density, making it curve spacetime outward, like pushing the trampoline up from underneath. This creates a cosmic tug-of-war that holds the entire structure together. This exotic matter exists in a state called a false vacuum where quantum fields balance on the edge of collapse. Picture balancing a pencil on its tip. Mathematically possible, but the slightest disturbance sends everything crashing down. The shell maintains this impossible balance through quantum pressure that pushes outward against the crushing weight of gravity. The thickness of this shell could be measured in Planck lengths, the smallest meaningful distance in physics. To put this in perspective, if an atom were the size of Earth, a Planck length would be smaller than a marble. Yet, this impossibly thin barrier contains enough exotic matter to outweigh dozens of star systems. Scientists theorize that this matter might be made of particles that exist in negative energy states. These particles would have mass, but their energy contribution to the universe would be negative like cosmic death. When normal matter approaches the shell, these negative energy particles interact in ways that create repulsive forces stronger than nuclear fusion. The shell pulses with quantum fluctuations that happen trillions of times per second. Each pulse releases gravitational waves that ripple through spacetime like sound waves through air. But these are not gentle ripples. They carry enough energy to vaporize planets and shred the molecular bonds that hold matter together. What makes this exotic matter even more terrifying is that it might be contagious. Theoretical models suggest that if two gravars ever came close enough, their exotic matter shells could interact and create a cascade effect. The shells could merge and expand, creating a larger gravar that consumes both original structures and everything around them. The quantum mechanics governing this shell create what physicists call a firewall effect. Any information that crosses into the shell becomes scrambled at the quantum level, making it impossible to recover. This means that anything consumed by a gravar does not just disappear. It becomes permanently erased from the universe's memory. The shell itself might be alive with virtual particles that pop in and out of existence. These particles create a thin foam of quantum activity that generates temperatures hotter than the core of the most massive stars. The heat does not radiate outward like normal thermal energy. It becomes trapped within the shell's quantum structure. But the true horror lies in what happens when this impossible shell finally breaks. When the most massive stars die, they might not collapse into black holes, but explode into something far worse. Picture a star 50 times more massive than our Sun reaching the end of its life. As nuclear fuel runs out, gravity should crush the core into a black hole. But quantum mechanics intervenes at the last possible moment. Instead of forming an event horizon, the collapsing matter hits a quantum barrier that stops the collapse dead in its tracks. This moment creates what physicists call a quantum bounce. The crushing weight of the star's core hits the exotic matter shell and rebounds like a rubber ball hitting concrete. But this is not a gentle bounce. It is a cosmic explosion that releases more energy than 1 trillion supernovas combined. The dying star's outer layers get blasted into space at speeds approaching the speed of light. These stellar remnants become cosmic shrapnel that can sterilize entire regions of galaxies. Meanwhile, the core settles into the exotic matter shell, creating a gravar that will outlive the universe itself. During this birth process, the temperatures reach levels that make the core of the Sun look ice cold. The heat is so intense that it breaks down the fundamental forces that hold atoms together. Matter gets reduced to its most basic components: quarks and gluons swimming in a soup of pure energy. The gravitational waves produced during gravar formation carry enough energy to shatter planets thousands of light years away. These waves travel through spacetime like cosmic tsunamis, creating ripples that can be detected by instruments across the galaxy. Scientists believe these birth cries might be the most violent events in the universe. But here is where the process becomes truly nightmarish. The quantum bounce that creates the gravar might happen multiple times. Each bounce creates another shell of exotic matter, building up layers like a cosmic onion. These nested shells could create resonance effects that amplify the gravar's power exponentially. The formation process also creates what scientists call quantum scars in spacetime. These are permanent distortions that change how gravity works in the region around the newborn gravar. Space itself becomes twisted into shapes that mathematics can describe, but human minds cannot visualize. Some theoretical models suggest that the birth of a gravar could create a bubble of altered physics that expands outward at the speed of light. Inside this bubble, the constants of nature, things like the speed of light and the strength of gravity, might have different values than in the rest of the universe. The dying star's magnetic field gets compressed into the exotic matter shell, creating magnetic pressures millions of times stronger than anything found on Earth. This magnetic prison could trap particles and energy for billions of years, slowly building up pressure until it explodes in bursts of radiation that outshine entire galaxies. What emerges from this cosmic violence is an interior that defies every law of physics we know. Step inside a Scarier and you enter a realm where the normal rules of existence completely break down. The interior of a Scarier is not empty space. It is a region where spacetime itself exists in a state called ditter space. Imagine reality turned inside out, where the expansion of the universe happens in reverse, creating a bubble of spacetime that grows inward instead of outward. This creates a cosmic hall of mirrors where cause and effect lose all meaning. In this interior realm, time might flow backward or sideways through dimensions we cannot perceive. A clock brought into this space would not simply stop. It would begin measuring time in directions that have no names. Past and future become meaningless concepts when spacetime folds back on itself like origami made from the fabric of reality. The gravitational field inside a gravar pulls in every direction at once instead of the familiar inward pull of gravity. The interior creates what physicists call negative pressure. This means that matter inside the gravastar experiences a force that tries to tear it apart at the atomic level while simultaneously compressing it from all sides. Any object that somehow penetrated the exotic matter shell would find itself in a universe with different physical laws. The speed of light might be different. The strength of gravity could be reversed. And the electromagnetic force that holds atoms together might become repulsive instead of attractive. Matter would dissolve into component particles that follow rules unknown to science. The interior might be filled with what cosmologists call dark energy, the mysterious force that drives the expansion of our universe. But inside a gravastar, this dark energy becomes concentrated and turbulent, creating storms of spacetime that would make hurricanes look like gentle breezes. These cosmic storms could tear apart the quantum vacuum itself. Scientists believe the interior might exist in a state of eternal inflation where new pockets of spacetime continuously bubble into existence. Each bubble could contain its own version of physics, creating an infinite fractal of realities nested within the gravastar's shell. These pocket universes might be born and die in microsecons, each one containing the potential for entirely different forms of existence. The mathematical equations describing this interior space include terms that physicists call imaginary time. This does not mean fictional time. It means time that exists at right angles to the time we experience. Moving through this imaginary time dimension could allow travel to parallel versions of our universe or to moments that never happen. But perhaps most terrifying is that the interior might be conscious. Some theoretical models suggest that the quantum fluctuations inside a graphar could create patterns complex enough to support information processing. The Scarier might be a cosmic mind thinking thoughts that span millions of years and processing information at speeds that make our fastest computers look motionless. The boundary between the interior and the exotic matter shell creates what physicists call a quantum horizon. This is not a barrier you can touch. It is a region where the concept of location itself becomes meaningless. Space and time blend together into a quantum foam where particles exist in multiple places simultaneously. This impossible interior might be the reason why graphs remain completely invisible to our telescopes. Scariers could be lurking throughout our galaxy, hidden in plain sight because they emit no light at all. Unlike black holes, which reveal themselves through the brilliant accretion disks of matter spiraling toward their event horizons, gravastars consume material in perfect silence. The exotic matter shell absorbs everything that touches it without creating any of the high-energy radiation that makes black holes visible to our telescopes. When matter approaches a gravastar, it does not heat up through friction and compression like it does around a black hole. Instead, it simply vanishes into the quantum foam of the exotic matter shell. This process produces no X-rays, no gamma rays, and no visible light, making gravastars the perfect cosmic predators. The The shell itself might be completely transparent to most forms of radiation. Light waves passing through the exotic matter could emerge unchanged on the other side, creating a gravitational lens effect that bends starlight without any visible source. This means we might be looking directly at GRARs without knowing they exist. Scientists theorize that GRARs might even absorb their own gravitational waves. While black holes ring like cosmic bells when disturbed, sending ripples through spacetime that our detectors can measure, gravastars might dampen these waves within their exotic matter shells. This makes them invisible to our most sensitive gravitational wave detectors. The quantum properties of the shell create what physicists call a cloaking effect. The negative energy density of the exotic matter could bend spacetime in ways that deflect all forms of electromagnetic radiation around the gravar. This would make them invisible to radio telescopes, optical telescopes, and even neutrino detectors. But their invisibility goes deeper than just hiding from our instruments.